Frank Seravalli, our daily Faceoff insider, joins the show. And Frank, it is expected to be the final game at Mullet Arena this evening, final game for the Arizona Coyotes, but we haven't heard anything official from the league yet. Do you know when that could be happening?
They're hoping that they can still announce it Thursday or Friday of this week. I mean, obviously the cat's out of the bag, but to just get to a spot where they feel like everyone's comfortable enough and in agreement, a sort of preliminary agreement, even if that is possible, that's part of the plan. But I have to chime in here. First off, I am with Jay on Daily Faceoff Live today. That was my play of the day, is Yotes money line. But my big question is, given the ground that Jay needs to make up, is this like Final Jeopardy? Like, is he wagering? How many is he wagering? I guess, does it matter if you are 20 behind or whether you're winning? Like, that would seem to matter.
The juice is there. I'm putting a decent bet tonight just so I can get my account flush for playoffs where I can bet real crazy and silly.
Oh, so it's not ending at game 82.
Oh, it does. This is a regular season thing.
Okay. Yes. We'll restart it in the playoffs.
So I'm trying to I'm trying to play for second place because Liam's so far in advance. But if he doesn't hit and I hit with that and I hit another 5-1, like I'm actually trying to go for it here.
You're swinging.
Makes sense to me. And there's never a more scheduled win for the Arizona Coyotes in their tenure, their existence, than tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird scene down at Mullet Arena. They're looking to do the whiteout and all of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it feels like. Again, like when the Oilers score, like there's still going to be a ton of Oilers fans. Like my flight down here was packed with Oilers fans. Even just like, again, walking around, I went to Topgolf last night. There was a group from Edmonton there. Sorry, yesterday in the afternoon, group from Edmonton there. So there's going to be a ton of Oilers fans, but I don't think the Oilers fans, like, I think it puts a bit of a damper on it. If you're like watching the Oilers score, I don't think you like go nuts because I don't know. I feel bad for the Coyotes fans who are going to be in attendance tonight. It's like, man, they're losing their team. Like that sucks. There's legitimate diehards down here who are losing their team, Frank. As much as the relocation's exciting and all that, it is still a shitty situation.
Oh, I mean, look, there's no doubt, but here's what the point that I've made, and I believe it. I think this is a win-win-win for everyone. It's a win for the NHL to get out from Alex Meruelo. It's a win to get this team finally in the hands, this franchise in the hands of a proper steward who can support this team in, yes, another win, one of the fastest growing markets in the US. Now, so how is this a win for Coyotes fans? My answer to that is when Arizona gets a team back in the near future, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, whatever it is, and the NHL has a proven track record of delivering a team back, because think to Minnesota, the North Stars go to Dallas, Minnesota finally gets an arena built. 6 years later, they have a team, and no one has ever questioned Minnesota's ability to host and have an NHL team in their market. That's fact. So the win for Coyotes fans is when they finally get a new arena, and probably with a different owner, my guess would be the next time around than Alex Meruelo, even with this agreement that's in place. The win for Coyotes fans is stability. They haven't had any. It's been a toxic mess. It's been chaos for 2 decades. And I actually am a believer in the market. You're going to have to go for a few painful years here without a team. But the win is that when you get one, you're going to finally be able to compete on a level ice surface with everyone else in the NHL. And that's something that they haven't been able to do for a long, long time.
Is there I saw a report the other day on Twitter, Frank, that Tucson might be moving to the Mullet Arena. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, they're trying to work that out. That's also part of this agreement, but Alex Meruelo owns the Tucson Roadrunners franchise. So it would be his call to move them to Mullet Arena. And that might be one way for him to fulfill the lease that he has standing with Arizona State University and Mullet Arena. But that's one part that they're still working through.
Bill Armstrong's future. Have we heard anything final about whether or not he's actually going there?
We have not. There certainly have been, lots of questions behind the scenes. Don't know who all is part of it just yet.
All right. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the playoff picture out east. Frank, it was a wild finish last night around the NHL. I know you guys broke it all down on Daily Faceoff Live. We know the 8 teams, and perhaps more importantly, we know the teams who've now missed. Wings, the Penguins, and the Flyers. Which one of those three should be the most disappointed that they didn't get in?
I'm sure fans in Detroit are feeling a certain way with their playoff drought extending. I'm sure Pittsburgh Penguins fans are lamenting wasting this really impressive 36-year-old season from Sidney Crosby, one of the best in NHL history at that age. To me, I think the Flyers fans should be more disappointed than anyone, because what happened to me this season was a real departure from plan. And a lot of it was in a good way for a long period of time. But to wake up today on locker cleanout day and your team held a playoff spot for like 75 games this year, you probably didn't ask all or turn over all of the stones and ask all of the questions that you needed to for a team that acknowledged before the season that they were rebuilding at the trade deadline. And then, so you missed the playoffs, and then you wake up and you look at the draft lottery standings and you realize that you have a 0% chance to draft Macklin Celebrini. That's the ultimate kick in the nuts season. It's just the definition of mid. Not bad enough to be in the draft lottery and have a real shot and get a real promising player, and also really close, but not close enough to the playoffs. And that really hurts.
Yeah. Looking at the playoff picture in the East, we get another round of Boston versus Toronto. If you were Betway and you had to set a betting line for that one, what would you set it at?
I would make the Toronto Maple Leafs the favorites. I would make it like a 110 or 120 or 125. Part of that is because I'd anticipate the action that comes in on the Leafs. Part of that would be because I truly think the Leafs win that series. I think when you take a step back and you look at the Bruins year and some players that have exceeded expectations, Charlie Coyle was a great story. Their defense, I think, still has some question marks. Their goaltending has been otherworldly. I can't get the taste of last year's first round loss out of my mouth. And B, if you were to look at the Bruins' underlying numbers and metrics, and Sportlogic did this last week and did a fantastic job, they believe the Bruins would have around 98 or 99 points if Boston got league average goaltending. Clearly, their goaltending far exceeded that, and that's a credit to them. But what if all of those things get equalized when it comes to the playoffs? And it's a big what if to ask, but I think it's a closer representation of what I think this Boston team actually is. I think they are closer to a 98 or 99 point team than a team that finished with almost 110 points.
Is there a series that you're most excited to watch out of the East and the West? The only one I guess we're not fully determined on is Edmonton, but I think we can say it's going to be Vegas, right?
Jay actually asked me this morning, and I said, be careful. The Oilers are at a 72% shot. Like, don't go booking any travel yet. It's a 72% shot for Vegas.
Too late.
And a 28% shot for LA. Like, that's not 95-5. So if it is Edmonton Vegas, that to me would be the third most intriguing first round series. First for me will be Winnipeg and Colorado. And part of the intrigue is not just two really good teams going head to head. Part of the intrigue for me is the fact that Winnipeg absolutely whooped Colorado this season. 3-0, 17-4 goal differential. Sometimes a team has its number. And oddly enough, the Jets, if they win that and Dallas wins, the Jets got smoked by Dallas this year. So make of that what you will. That would be number one. And number two is the Battle of Florida. I just think Tampa is they're going to go into the series as an underdog, obviously. My question would be how much?
I think Tampa Bay is a sleeping dragon heading into this playoffs, and that ties in to our Great Clips inbox question for you, Frank. With more than 4,400 hair salons throughout the U.S. and Canada, Great Clips is the world's largest hair salon brand and the official hair salon of the NHL. For more information about Great Clips, head to greatclips.com and learn a little bit about the check-in app. See the wait time, check in on your phone, get your haircut when you want. Great Clips, it's going to be great. Which wildcard team has the best chance of being Florida Panthers 2.0 and going, not just winning a round, but going on a deep run, Frank?
I've told you how much I hate this question. I've referenced it in the rundown because Florida had 122 points the year before, and I don't really ever think of them as an authentic wildcard team, even though factually they finished in that spot. That said, I would say it's got to be Tampa.
To your point, like not really a wild card team, but they're in a wild card spot. Yeah. So like that, it's the no-brainer. I think if you're going to just reach and remove Tampa, it's just that it has to be Nashville.
Oh, I would actually say it's probably whoever finishes in the second wild card spot, not Nashville.
Oh, second. They're going to have their hands tied.
It's either LA or Vegas.
They're playing Dallas. You think they have a chance to take down Dallas?
I just think it's so close in the West that I know that whatever it might be, 15, 20 points is going to separate them. It's not even going to be that many 15. It's these teams, like, I think LA, maybe not against the Oilers, but LA's good. They might give someone fits with their neutral zone. And even if you beat them, it's probably going to be pretty taxing. And I know I'm not a believer in LA's goaltending, and Vegas, you could make the same argument. Look at Aiden Hill and his numbers, big question marks, and Vegas as a team. You know, Jason Greger on the rundown this week was like, I ain't scared of Vegas. Bring it on, basically, more or less. And I don't know. I have a funny feeling about one of the second wildcard team, whoever that ends up being.
Should be interesting. A lot of people dropping their bold takes in the YouTube chat. If you want to try, in a way, put your money where your mouth is. We're going to be doing a fun daily Faceoff playoff parlay challenge over on the site. So you can head to dailyfaceoff.com for that and to read all of Frank Seravalli's great work. Thanks for doing this, Frank.
I was going to say, if you really want to have some fun, and go back and read my 32 bold predictions, which I audited yesterday, and you can please feel free to make fun of me.
Oh man, I read that yesterday. I was lounging by the pool and I was laughing so hard at it because it's great that you go back and do this and don't just sit there and be like, what? My 32 bold predictions? What are you talking about? You did nail a few though. Like there's a couple you should be proud of.
Look, when you're batting like 247 on the season, like you don't brag about the ones you get right.
I don't know. I think you deserve.
But that's the point of bold predictions though, and which is why I can't see the chat, but I would remind everyone, you have to make people think. You have to actually go out on a ledge in order for it to count as a bold prediction. If I'm just making the most obvious selection possible, what's the point in doing it?
100%. 100%. All right. Thanks for doing this, Frank.
See you guys.
Thanks for you. What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.